So we go back a ways.
Well, you could say that. I've known you half my life. You've known me your whole life.
Yes.
Hint.
She's my mother. My wonderful, fun mother.
Yes, I claim you gladly.
Yeah. Oh, that's so nice.
It was weird, though, when I was pregnant with you. Because people were talking about everything like, I already know this person. I'm like, I don't even know you yet. So I'm glad we got to know each other. It's less awkward. Yes, you may share my space forever.
Yeah. You started in the closest one. I'll let you move out and take the rest of them, too.
That's a weird comment. No one else would say that. But anyway, I love being your mother.
I like that you're my mother.
Yeah.
We've worked together, too, so we've shared a lot of close spaces. And
we did that and liked it. So.
Yeah. I need a shirt that says, like, I survived working with my mom.
Yeah.
And loved it. Yeah.
Because a lot of people would not wear that after the experience. I worked with my mom. We didn't kill each other.
Hashtag resentment.
We had fun doing it.
Yeah.
Okay, so what's this podcast thing about? You and you're wise and you have a table, so I know it'll be good.
Yeah. Oh, well, thanks. Well, the overall goal is that I bring people who are actually wise to tell me about things.
Okay.
Even though I get to share a little bit of my half your life wisdom.
Half-life. Sounds like radiation poisoning is wearing
Or
off.
carbon dating.
What about the wise guy table? Does that count?
Wise guy table?
Yeah.
That sounds great. What is the wise guy table?
A wise guy?
Yeah.
Smart mouth.
Oh, yeah. Sure. That too.
Okay.
Yeah.
I think it's a good combination.
I think it is too. Makes it way more
Be
fun.
wise, but don't be boring.
Be wise and be a wise guy. This will be the comedy show.
I guess. We'll see how this goes.
Yeah. I'm digging it.
Okay.
Feeling the groove.
Yeah.
Sipping my tea.
Get used to this camera being there.
I just pretend I'm like Jim from The Office.
Okay. This will help me.
Somebody makes a comment and yeah, it's exactly what that is. I want a montage, like an Instagram reel of Mom Jim from The Office. And we'll start with the video from Florida when Grandpa told you he'd never had a burrito. I'm going to start by finding that video and
I'm sure
showing
you have
you.
it.
Oh, yeah.
somewhere.
It's fantastic. I know exactly where it's at, too. I'll even pull it up on the screen.
Captured
This
a
is
great
hilarious.
moment there.
I found it.
Basic traditional burrito. Feels like 2 pounds.
You ever had a burrito?
Not what you consider.
He said, I guess I've never had a basic traditional burrito. And you're like, what? I mean, it weighs 2 pounds. You've never had a burrito?
Okay, so when I was in high school, my dad worked a block away from the Taco John's, and I had a classmate come up to me one day. He goes, "Did you know your dad comes in every single day and orders the Super Taco Bravo?" I'm like, "No, I did not. I do now. Thank you." Yes.
I mean, at least he's committed.
So I'm like, how have you never had a burrito when you ate at Taco John's every day of your life?
Every day.
Not like that's authentic, or it'd be called Taco Juan's. So there's that. Northern Midwestern whitewashed Mexican food or something. I don't know why is it called Taco John's?
I always tend to sip my tea at the wrong time.
Well, I haven't gotten you yet. You know, I made it a goal in life to make my mother spit milk out of her nose. So
You
and
did?
It happened, yes.
When?
I don't know. I was a teenager or 20 or something.
How long did that take you?
I was at least 2 years.
Really?
But it happened.
I mean, I probably spent a year trying to get your voice text to pick up something I shouted at the end of it before you sent to a client.
Yes. What was it?
I said purple unicorn. Yeah, sure. I'll send over that offer in a minute. Purple unicorn sent.
Shaylee!
And it sent.
Yes.
It probably took me about a year and a half.
There you go.
Yeah.
Similar experience.
We're all
The
committed.
gag.
Yeah.
Well, we haven't been committed yet, but we're working on it.
You had a commitment to something else besides making milk spit out of your mom's nose.
Yes. Multiple things. To which are you referring?
To your kids.
Of course. Oh, you mean my goal to make my kids laugh every day?
Yeah.
Best goal I ever set for myself.
Yeah.
To make my kids laugh every day.
Which is funny because to me, I'm like, that's hilarious. But then I look back at it and I'm like, it is probably one of the best things that you did because it shifted the moods incredibly in the house. And like, we
Yeah.
always, I don't know, like, I can't really remember a time being around you that you didn't. And I see you very often. So
Yeah.
hats off to you.
You know that when you talk about that, just kind of setting the mood or the tone in the house, that's actually something Dad has said that he feels like as a dad, it's important for him to set the temperature in the house. Not the literal temperature, because he knows I would change it, but it's the, you know, we're married, so we argue over the thermostat like everyone else. Or not, we discuss. We just do what we want.
Yeah.
But it's, but that idea that you set the kind of mood and attitude and tone for the household and your approach. So if you're grumpy, obviously the rest of the house is going to probably be grumpy, you know. So if you try to keep it light and fun,
Yeah.
it affects the mood in the whole house.
That's wild because I had never heard that up until earlier this week.
Really?
And somebody had said, as the man, I am the thermostat and my wife is the temperature.
Ah, interesting.
Yeah. Which obviously there is a point where you do kind of have to be like, okay, it's not completely up to the husband to set the mood as far as everything being happy and all this stuff. Like, he's going to have his days where, you know, you swap on 80-20% and not the same all the time.
Well, you can be as happy as you want. Somebody else around you might still be a grump. But, you know, it helps to at least recognize that how are we generating a mood or an atmosphere for others around us, you know?
Yeah.
So just being intentional about having fun. I grew up in a house that was fun. Like, my dad was just fun. I don't think he ever tried to do it or had to work at it. He was just silly and like not every minute, every second, but we just had a good time. Like, he was goofy. And
Yeah.
so it just, you know, you kind of have that whole overarching like flavor of your childhood or memories of stuff. So it's nice to be around somebody who's fun.
Yeah. Oh, it
I
makes
just tried to be
life way
intentional about it so I wouldn't just get all focused, caught up in work all the time or my problems and not have you guys experience it being fun.
better.
Yeah.
You wanted that.
Yeah.
I like taking things too seriously. Don't get me wrong. It's great to be motivated and it's great to be highly efficient. But if you're constantly focused on being successful in one area, and let's say you're being very successful in business and your career is taking off, but your home life and your family is not and miserable, you're losing.
Right. Right. Yeah. And sometimes it will float that way for a while until it all unravels. And sometimes people push those boundaries far too long until things are falling apart.
Really? Yeah.
I've seen it happen.
So not
coworkers
noticeable right
and-
away.
Right, because everybody has kind of a tolerance for kind of a miserable experience or things like that. But, you know, it can build up over time where it starts as just little complaints or whatever. But yeah, I've seen coworkers like crush it, but then the family all falls apart. You know, it's not always the cause, but it can be if we let it take over our lives.
Which is crazy because it's like, even if you do try to put that on the back burner and go, well, it doesn't matter as much as my career, because if my career excels, then I'm able to take care of my family. You might be taking care of them financially, but if you're not taking care of them emotionally, they fall apart behind the scenes. And I don't know if this is the same case for the coworkers that you've seen. Have you seen a pattern between people who ignore home life, or possibly you can't really assume, but say they're so focused on their career, everything falls apart back at home base? How do they do with business shortly after that?
Well, obviously, it's going to impact their business later, because if your family life is a wreck, it's going to impact your ability to function at work. I was listening to some business book the other day that was talking about how companies should be focused on how their employees are affected at home, because that is going to roll over into the workplace. You know, if we're having a crisis in our life, we can't function at our peak. So it does have an effect in the long run. But it's not either or, because I've seen people who had a great family life and a great business, and they were very attentive to both. They were present, they were doing things, and it's not all or nothing. I've also seen people that just were kind of really lackadaisical at work, but didn't really do anything to keep their family life interesting either. So it's not like success means the expense of your family. Because sometimes if you learn to be a quality person and take care of things, that can actually be a benefit to the people that you're around. Some of it is if you're successful and stressed, or you're successful and engaged and happy. So, that effect of like how we do at work during the day rolls over on the family also. It goes back and forth. So if somebody's had a lousy day at work and have been walked on all day and come home, they're more likely to react to their family like someone who's been walked on all day. Where if somebody just, hey, we just got a big win at the office and we did something great and, it was an awesome day, then you tend to come home and kind of breathe that energy and excitement over to your family, and they can share celebrating with you too. So it's important just to keep in mind the whole person, the whole experience. Those all tie in.
100%. Because I think, you hear a lot of comments like, just leave it at the door. Don't let it bleed over. But that's not always possible. And if anything, I found that things got worse. If things weren't going very well on the career front, but I felt like I couldn't bring that to my partner, my family, and express those things to them with high emotional intelligence, not coming in and just dumping on them and being a jerk. Sometimes that happens because we're human. We don't mean to. We don't really not really in the mood to talk about it right now. And so sometimes those things can happen, but being able to also have the emotional intelligence on the family side who wasn't there at the job to understand, you know what? We were totally fine this morning when you left. So there's a good chance that the reason you outlashed at me is not for me. And having those conversations of after some time and giving them some time going, hey, you okay? And if they say, yeah, fine, don't really want to talk about it. Next question I found to be helpful is it me or something else?
Yeah.
Yeah.
That is wise, because I've seen a lot of times people can come home and just start unloading about their day, and their partner responds like, well, why are you dumping it all on me? Or something. It's like, no, they're just telling you about their experiences. They're not doing anything to you, but we can take it as if you're upset with me when they may not be at all.
Yes.
So again, it's that ability to kind of distinguish between I just need to share what happened to you. I don't expect you to fix it. I'm not mad at you. I just want to unload without having to be careful about what I say or how it comes across. I just want to share what happened, and for them to be able to know, are you upset with me or are you just talking about your day? Makes it easier for that person to respond in a supportive way when they know they're not the target of the frustration.
Yeah. Jordan Peterson has this rule of threes. So he's like, okay, if my wife snaps at me one time, all right, maybe didn't mean to come across that way. Maybe she had a hard time, whatever. Second time, something's going on. By the third time, then it's like, okay, now we can chat. What's going on? This wasn't just like a one-time spoof and you just said something that sounded sharp. Because for his sake, he wants to make sure he's not overreacting and going, why are you jumping on me? And she's like, I wasn't jumping on you,
Yes.
Yeah, so giving him those chances. Now, granted, there are also times where if somebody's really bold in your face and you need to shut it down and be like, hey, don't talk to me like that, that's one thing. But there is something to having grace for your family members and your partner, your spouse, and, you're both going through life, and life is messy. I was listening to the radio, and there was a guy in Caleb talking about kids. He's been married for 15 years, and he's got a friend who's not married. He found somebody who really likes her, and he asked him as a friend, hey, is marriage worth it? And he laughed. He laughed, and he goes, well, yeah. He said, it's messy, but it's worth it. But that's like having kids. My little girl, she loves crafts. Oh, and she is crafty. So it's messy, but it's worth it. That's kind of profound to just say some of the most rewarding things in life can be a little messy, but it doesn't mean that's the wrong thing.
Right. They often are.
Does that apply to business?
I wish you wouldn't have said that, because yes, and now I have to admit that it was just maybe a bad week or year, instead of that business is really frustrating to life all of the time, because there are times that we feel like this isn't worth it. And that can be at work, it can be at home, it can be farming, whatever, I think we can all hit points like that. I was listening to an audiobook. It was a brain scientist. I wish I could remember who it was, but they were talking about the part of your brain that decides if a task is worth it or not. And it weighs it against the amount of effort that it takes to achieve it.
Really?
Yes. So interestingly enough, they were saying that people who are very particular, that have high standards, tend to have more of a threshold that they will hit a point where they're just like, it's not worth it, because they invest too much energy in having to be perfect. Where if you do that activity, but you don't obsess or stress over it as much, you haven't expended as much energy on the task. So that was a little challenging to me as someone that likes to keep very high standards, that there's that point where there's keeping high standards and then there's becoming obsessive to the point where it's not worth it, you know, and that's something I've had to try to incorporate into my life recently because of having livestock and farm animals and just having a lot more outside of my control than I did. Like in a business environment, it's a little more controlled. Just like in our homes, the environment is controlled. Like the temperature stays perfectly 72 or whatever in here all of the time. And there's just a certain way things work, but different tasks are less predictable. Raising livestock, dealing with the weather, unknown, you know, you have always some new problem, new predator, new disease, just unexpected issues all of the time. It's that trying to achieve this constant state of at least homeostasis, if not perfection, it's impossible. So you have to have more tolerance for imperfection.
Wow.
Yeah. So that becoming necessary for survivability, where before it was like I always achieved because I had high standards, finding a balance where I'm not overly working myself too hard to achieve an unrealistic expectation.
Wow.
Yeah. It's strange
Yeah.
for me to incorporate in my life. It's a reversal kind of how I've been. You know, sometimes we always keep thinking whatever got us to where we are is what we need to do more of. But there's a point we can obsess too much. Like what got us to where we can become an obsession to the point it can hurt us.
Wow.
You know,
Yeah. 100%.
Yeah. It's like eating disorders, you know, dieting. Like you can be successful at dieting, but if you don't stop, you'll die at some point. You need to diet until you have achieved what you want to do. Don't keep dieting after you've already become successful.
Right.
You know.
It's not sustainable. See
Right.
see the other episode linked in the show notes, because that's what we talked about with our last
Really?
episode.
Okay,
Yes. Yeah.
fun.
That's crazy. Oh, well, it makes sense because Hunter and I, my spouse, he is very much a high achiever and kind of thinking he could be borderline OCD, very type A, very organized, likes notes. He's super
Quality.
He's very quality.
He's a tremendous person. He's
Yeah.
a great employee. He's very good at doing a lot of things.
Yes.
It's a real strength.
For him, it's not like, okay, I want to be seen as a good employee. I've done all this in 5 years. For him, it's almost like I have to hit that goal every day, which is incredible. We are very much influenced by the environment around us. However, then we get some that are a little more unique. You and him that have that quality where you can be put in an environment and still kind of shut the world out and go, I don't care what other people are doing. This is what I'm doing. I'm going to focus on that. I'm going to be in my little bubble. And I'm going to be a high achiever, even though everybody else around me is not. Not saying your environment isn't, but you both have the qualities of that aspect. He's just a mega high achiever. Typically, he does spend a lot of time weighing the options and making the plan. And it never made sense to me until you said that, because I'm sitting here going, we already have the plan. Like, we know what we need. We know what we got to do. Let's just go do it. Let's just do it and be done. I can vision it in my head. I want to do it right now. And for him, he's like, no, we need to plan this out. And then we need to go over that plan again. And then we can discuss how we're going to initiate that first step. Understanding now, that's him weighing the options of going, is this actually worth it? Okay, double check. Is this worth it? Yeah? Okay, now we can go.
Yeah, it's also just the sign of someone, again, who wants to get it right
Yeah.
and do it with excellence. Some people are more focused on the overall plan, the details.
Yeah.
So again, that can be a great strength. It can become a weakness. The old adage is paralysis of analysis, where you just keep thinking about it over and over so much that you never actually get going. So there's that, because I also have friends that they'll jump into something before they think about anything, or if it's the right timing, and they've created some really big problems for themselves at times because they didn't really think it through, and then they kicked off something they couldn't finish, or didn't consider how it would impact other people. So it's good to have that plan, but there's also something about people that just go do it can actually get it done. People that have the perfect plan a lot of times never get started. So you can find the balance, and that's with a partner who's maybe more let's go, or just within ourselves, being aware of that. How do I plan but not too much, where when do I actually engage, let's not just shift gears, let's engage the engine and transmission here and actually do something.
Yeah. Because I have a degree in the arts, and so this analogy always applies to me. I always see it as a canvas, and I know very well how that is one of those things that you can always keep working on it, and you can never be done if you choose to never be done.
True.
The problem with that is you'll never have a finished masterpiece. There's always more you can do. And then it's almost like you're kind of gambling. You're like playing Deal or No Deal. I know I should quit because I've got $500,000 in the bank, but I want to risk it on doing one more move to it, and maybe it'll make it better. This is why we could never watch these things growing up, because Mom would be like, don't do it. You have the money. Walk away. And then always the next time they would lose it all. And she's like,
Told ya.
I told ya.
You pushed it too far.
Right.
That's right. I had a friend recently that said you should always quit while you're ahead, because if you don't, you'll be quitting when you're under. And we were talking about somebody that had gambled some money or something. I don't remember the context anymore, but it was funny because it's like, that idea that people always want to make up their losses. I'll quit when I get ahead. I'm talking to myself about farming right now. I need to sell some goats. So, if you wait, you kind of have to decide. Again, how do you decide when you don't have all the information? That's when at times I think it has to become more of just a spiritual guidance, because the only person that has all the information is God.
Yeah.
So we can try to figure it out and plan, and then the economy can sideswipe us, government regulations can change. We just don't know everything that's going to happen. And even when we think we know how it will work, until we actually sit down and do it and try it, we don't know if it will or not.
100%.
Yeah.
Because even if we do decide on things in a logic manner, and to say on paper, this makes 110% sense.
Yeah.
Right.
What does that mean? May work, maybe not.
It just means more paperwork. Yeah.
Yeah.
But
It's good to have a plan, but just because you made a plan doesn't mean it's going to go that way.
Yeah. And you kind of have to be okay with it not going okay.
Yeah, if you want to be okay in life, because nothing is ever going to go exactly as we plan. And if we spend all of our time trying to fix every little thing we don't like, again, speaking to myself, we'll never stop and enjoy the things we already have. For us to become good at anything, we have to do it on a regular basis. We have to do it a lot. Like, you can't just study how to play piano and then suddenly do it. You can have the best information, you can have the best plan, but until you're in taking action, you're never going to achieve proficiency, and you're never going to achieve excellence. I wish I could remember the name of this book. They studied 2 groups of photography students. And so a professor gave one group the assignment, your entire grade for the semester depends on one picture. One perfect picture will give you an A. The other group, she said, your grade for the semester depends entirely on the quantity of work that you turn in. So if you turn in at least 100 photos, you will get an A.
Oh, wow.
So, yes. So between the 2 groups, what's interesting is who turned in the best artwork.
Probably the ones who did more reps.
The ones who all turned in at least 100, because inevitably, instead of focusing on trying to get the perfect shot, the more the pictures they took, the more they learned and the more opportunities they had. So they inevitably, in just doing a lot of quantity, ended up with better quality also.
That's fascinating.
Yeah. So there's just that jump between, we have to blend education and our intellect and action. There's, until we put it into practice, we don't know how it's going to fully go. But every time we do something, we learn. So we learn how to correct things. We learn how to overcome obstacles. We learn a better camera angle. We learn what happens when the lighting hits the water that way. So constant action is an education.
Yeah. Some of my favorite quotes that I use on a weekly basis probably have come from you. And
I hope I didn't steal them from someone else.
Well, if you remember, we can link that.
I'll try to give credit if I can, but I would love to hear these.
One of them you told me was 80% complete is better than trying to get 100% and never getting it done.
Okay, yes. This is a common one of mine, so I do know what you're talking about. It's my 95% rule.
Oh, yeah.
So doing something to 95% of perfection, my theory is it takes as much energy to take it from 95% perfect to 100 as it did to get it to 95%.
Oh, wow.
So and 95% is an A. So again, for someone like me that can maybe over obsess on quality, it helps me to choose a stopping point, because it's better for me to do 2 projects, really, really good projects at 95% perfection than to try to get 1 project perfect.
Yeah.
And just expense wise too.
That makes sense.
Like there's flaws in my house. Like I remodeled my whole house, and right after my bathroom was all remodeled, I dropped like a nail polish from my cabinet. It cracked my sink. I mean, I just redid the whole house. I just spent buku money redoing everything. How much time and money do I spend? I would have to take off the tile backsplash. I would have to take off the whole top. I'd have to take off the sink, the faucet, the plumbing, take off the whole countertop. Again,
spend money replacing a sink.
Caulk again, another faucet, redo all the tile. Or I could just live with the crack in my sink.
Right.
You
could probably get a compound and fill that crack.
Right. Yeah. So there's that point where how do we decide it's good enough to just simply enjoy it and to stop?
And that's really a good analogy, because comparing it to like your house is 95% clean compared to 100% clean versus my bathroom is 95% remodeled, not 100%, because there's a big crack in my sink. I feel like that is harder to let go of a damage rather than progression.
Mm-hmm. And it's everybody's own personal choice, because if it was something that bothered me every day, I would do it if it was really upsetting me. But I just have other things I'd like to accomplish in life than to redo the sink I just did.
Yeah.
Besides, I might crack that one anyway.
Might happen again.
I had people the other day, they're buying a house and they have two little kids, toddler, baby. And they were talking about the houses they were finding in their budget just really weren't perfect enough for what they were wanting. And I was like, but this is the first house. This is like a 5-year house. And in reality, you have kids, so that carpet won't be perfect very long anyway.
Do not get white, light, or anything beige.
Right. What color is your dog? That's what carpet color you should go with. But,
and the couch, too. Just make it all the same color as your dog.
Yes. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, 100%. So I did have questions for you about, because you are really fun and carefree and...
On my good days.
Yeah, well, sure.
Which are hopefully more than my bad days. But.
Yeah. Oh, 100%. At least when I'm around, which is great.
Well, I'm always having fun when you're around.
Oh, same. Seeing you, obviously I've been here for half of it, but like seeing you and how...
You didn't know me when I was young and dumb.
No, you were quite wise even in your late 20s.
I was told that. But...
Yeah. I had to get it from somewhere.
Ah, there you go.
Yeah, see? Well, with all your fun, carefree attitude, at least on the good days. Not always.
Sorry, carefree is the only one I might object to. But...
Okay, not carefree.
I went through a whole season of at least 10 several years where I was like, I feel like I'm living with 800,000 pounds of pressure every day. But anyway,
That's no, that's good to know, because I think it's easy to look at people and go, they have it all together.
right.
I think it's really crucial for people to see how you are now and go, oh, there's something different about her. Because originally I thought, well, she just has a great life. She's got a great spouse. She's got a great house. She's got a great business. From the outside, it can be like, okay, she's thriving and successful.
That's what happened after it all fell apart.
Right, right. But I think that's really crucial for people to know, because one of the, like you asked, what do I want to talk about in this podcast? And I said, bringing, people's wisdoms to the table so that way I can learn and I can sit in the place of listeners and ask questions that maybe they have. If you're a listener, I hope that you comment on the videos. That way we can answer more questions later on. But there is something else to the reason why I want this podcast in such a conversational sense, because I do want real and raw answers.
Mm-hmm.
Like, I want people to understand that we are perfectly flawed in every sense of the word. And we don't have it all together. And even when somebody seems like they've got this great life, like you're really funny, you're sparky, you're charismatic, all these things, and successful wildly in multiple areas, you have a great so it's like, well, yeah, easy for you to say. I was given the wrong cards in life. Well, you didn't grow up with the blessings in your life that you have now, whether that's financial, your family, or whatever. And so you've got all these wonderful things now, but you went through a lot of turmoil prior to that. That being said, I think it's great for people to know that go, hey, you know what? I still struggle with these things. And it's not because I have a great life. It's because I have a great Savior.
Right.
And I have a great God that I have hope in and that I have trust in.
Yeah.
Period. And the reason I'm smiling, even though life sucks, sometimes I think that's a great testimony. People know about your life story, and you choose to smile and be in a good mood and to treat people well and to not,
I saw my grandparents do that. They had a lot of health problems and they just didn't talk about it a lot. It was really funny because at one point somebody told them, you're just so blessed that you guys are so healthy. And I was like, are you kidding me? Grandpa had to quit farming in his 50s because of heart problems. They wanted to fuse his spine when my mom was a baby and make him stay in a wheelchair or lay down his entire life.
I didn't know that.
Really? Yeah, he had rheumatoid arthritis, and I think maybe in combination with something else. And he was in so much physical pain that to just move, like he wasn't able to pick up my mom when she was a baby because he wasn't able to lift things. He was in excruciating pain for many years, actually.
Wow. That just goes to show you how positive they were.
How positive he was.
I never knew that.
I remember my uncle talking about one time he found Grandpa crawling through the farmyard because he couldn't actually walk anymore. He was in so much pain. But he just refused to have the surgery to fuse his spine. He just said he was some old guy who had had the same condition when he was younger. And he told him, he said, Roy, if you could just keep moving and keep going. He goes, for me, after about 7 years, it got better. So he just refused to quit, even though he was in horrible pain. They were a testament to a positive attitude, and it really colored their life. They were a joy to be around because instead of focusing on all their complaints, they were always happy to see you. And, they talked about what's going on with you. And they were just really pleasant and cheerful. And it wasn't for absence of problems by any means, but they just really chose to focus on positive things.
Yeah. Somebody told me that, you know what? If we can be in a bad mood for no reason, then we should be able to be in a good mood for no reason too.
That would be great.
Yeah. Which is way easier said than done.
Well,
sometimes
it's usually a combination of things because a lot of it is what have we been thinking on. If I get to be in a cranky bad mood, I always stop and think, what have I been thinking about for the last 5 minutes?
Ooh.
So if I'm thinking about all of my complaints and things in the past that have upset me, it doesn't take very long to get yourself in a bad mood.
Yeah. I think it's an internal battle whenever you're aware of that.
We think our thoughts just happen, but we actually can choose to change the channel.
Yep.
We can choose to think about something else.
Yep.
We can turn on a podcast
Yeah.
instead of ruminating on our thoughts, or an audiobook, or call a friend, or, shifting gears off of negative thoughts. Because there's a point, if you can actually overcome something by thinking about it. There's a point, like, we can't avoid grief. We have to process it and go through it and come to a point where we accept it. And that can take some time. Some of that is just accepting the unfairness of life, I think helps, because when we think it shouldn't be that way, well, you can think that as long as you want. It won't change anything because it's not the way it should be. And that's what the Bible actually says in many places.
Promises it.
Ecclesiastes, life is not fair, and it's not karma, where if you do good things happen to you. And a lot of times it's the opposite. But, if we can get to the point where we accept what's happened to us, how long do we dwell on it after that is probably the biggest thing we do have control over.
Yeah.
Because yes, those thoughts automatically come, but we can choose to think about something else. Like, it takes practice.
Yeah. There's a few quotes that I really love that kind of correlate with that. One of them is, strong minds discuss ideas. Average minds discuss current events. Weak minds discuss people.
Yeah, I saw that play out on college campus very clearly, what people like to talk about.
Yeah.
Yeah.
High achievers tend to really desire conversations and environments with other higher achievers. And average achievers, it's like they both aren't really big fans of each other because they won't come to the other one's side on what they want to talk about. I think that's what really helped. Recovering from people pleasing is understand, first of all, there's a stat that says like 10% of the world's population will hate you no matter what you do. That helps a lot. I'll tell you that. But the other thing is
frustrating, but freeing.
It is very freeing. But understanding that, even people that you can be cordial with, if you're not on the same wavelength, and quite honestly, I even said this in the last podcast, which was, I think debating is great, like to a point. There is a point where we need to drop things and let it go. But debating is great because it puts you in practice with communicating with people you don't fully agree with, being able to have healthy conversations and walking away. Because if we only ever have a conversation with somebody we would agree with, it would just be me in the room. That's it.
Right.
I will never fully agree with every single thing. My husband and I are obviously very close. We have a ton in common. But if we have everything in common, there's no growth. If we have nothing in common, it's unhealthy.
Yeah, that's right.
It's a balance.
Well, and I shouldn't need to have everybody agree with me.
No.
Like, okay, you see it different. You don't take my perspective. And I don't see why that needs to be a problem. And that's how the fight got started. You won't accept, like, they won't come and see it to your side. Like you said, you're never going to get anybody to agree with you 100%. You're just going to waste your energy a lot. I mean, you can talk about it, make your point, but if they don't agree, move on. Sometimes they will later, but there's no point in trying to get someone to see it your way all the time. It just is a waste of energy.
Yeah. We are stronger in our differences because men and women are not supposed to be the same. And in marriage, we're not supposed to be the same strengths, the same weaknesses. And even another favorite line of mine that came from you is that oftentimes... See, look at this is why I brought you to the wise table, because that's all you're just dropping wisdom bombs on me.
Like bath bombs?
Yeah.
Okay.
Smells fruity. You told me that oftentimes our greatest strengths can be our greatest weaknesses.
Yeah. I believe that.
Mind blowing.
Yeah, it's kind of like what I said before about dieting. You can take something too far. And so, recognizing that being really good at one thing, if you let it overtake your life, it can become a detriment, or becoming, if you're if you're a rocket scientist, you want to be excessively analytical. You can't not be at a perfect level with your math. But, how long do you spend balancing your checkbook on Quicken, splitting the difference on your Walmart receipt between groceries and personal goods? What's the point? You know what I mean? Like, there's a point where there's only so much perfection required. and then we're just wasting time.
Yeah. I told somebody last week, the reason that balance is very crucial is because apples are really good for you, but if you eat 562 of them, you'll die.
Yeah, I had to tell your brother, like, stop eating so many apples. Like, he was like 5 years old eating 5 apples a day. I'm like, buddy, that's too much. I'm glad you like apples.
I'm glad you're listening to your doctor that says an apple a day will keep the doctor away. But I have heard anything will keep a doctor away if you throw it hard enough.
Yeah. I like that.
So with balance too, there comes like that's for some good things, but there's also bad things that we have to balance and learn how to tackle. One of those being stress.
Mm-hmm.
So first question for you, is stress always bad?
No, actually.
That was a quick answer.
Yeah, well, I read a lot, so I can tell you what scientists say. And then I can give you my opinion too. If we had no stress, then we would actually, it would be a detriment because we would be in a state of constant apathy and boredom, which doesn't actually make us function well. So this is from kind of I'm having an AI moment. I'm like conglomerating a whole bunch of other books that I'm just going to spit it all out in one mouth.
Great.
But yeah, some stress drives us to action and will motivate us, and we will learn if we're under some stress. If we have no stress, it's because everything is completely familiar and the same, and we're not being challenged at all. If our brain cells are not challenged at all, they actually atrophy and like, whoa. So when you have to solve problems, they've kind of recently found you actually can create new connections in your brain, the synapses. I hope I say that right.
Yep.
But, you know, you can actually like grow more brain cells, increase the connections. You can actually increase your mental ability if you're constantly solving problems. So like older people that do crossword puzzles or games like that have better cognitive function, because when you challenge your brain, it actually does grow. If you are never being challenged in any way and everything's always the same and everything's always easy, it's just like if you put your arm in a cast and you don't use it for 6 weeks, it comes out and it's like you can't do anything anymore. And we can lose a lot of function and ability if everything is just completely familiar and the same and we don't have any challenge whatsoever. So we need to have some stress to grow and develop, and frankly, to stay interested in the world, because no stress is such boredom that we actually can't really tolerate that very well. So, you know, when you look at like peak performance in the workplace, there's a window there of enough stress for life to stay interesting and to stay motivated. And then so much stress, you feel like you're just going to have a meltdown and you can't handle it anymore. So to some point, some of it is how much can we handle, and that's a skill set on our part. Some of it is simply if it's just too much and the external circumstances need to change. Now, I've met people who frankly just couldn't handle hardly anything and they thought everything was too hard. You couldn't ask them to do the most basic of tasks. I hate to give a specific example because I wouldn't want anybody to feel bad, but you know, in a workplace setting, an assignment that was an extremely easy assignment that this person complained to every person in the building about how it was just so hard and they couldn't figure it out. And like every single person had helped this person like 3 different times try to figure it out. It was really, really easy. So some of that is maybe your ability, your emotional function, you know, like
Your
obviously
tolerance.
a 2-year-old couldn't do that, but a 42-year-old should have been able to do that.
Your tolerance is way too low.
Yes. So sometimes it's us. It's like if we have no time management skills, if we have no organizational skills, like things are going to overwhelm us because we don't have the ability or skill set to give ourselves a framework to handle that type of work. So your capacity for work can grow over time as you increase your skill set. Your capacity for handling stress, you can develop more resilience to handle. Some of that is just having done it before. Like I survived this previous stressful experience. You can gain more confidence, kind of wherewithal to know, okay, I got through that. I can get through this, you know? So, and some of that's us, but a lot of it, it's even better knowing like, okay, God will get me through it.
Yeah.
You know, we all have limits. He has no limits. So some of it is us, some of it is external. But if we only look at external all the time, like you people are stressing me out, well, maybe we need to grow and get better at handling things. I've just heard of a couple friends lately that in their corporate jobs, they're working till late hours every single evening. There's just simply too much workload being put on them by their company from everything I'm hearing. And that's just an unacceptable load. It's kind of like an abusive relationship, right? Like you shouldn't have to try to overcome the stress of someone abusing you. If you work until 9 at night every single day, if you're working 15-hour days consistently, that's not right. Don't quit trying to learn how to do it better. Stop doing all that work so they have to stop.
Yes.
I don't care if you lose your job, it's better losing your health.
Yes.
You know, and if you keep doing it, they'll keep giving it to you. Like,
yes.
You know, so it can be within us, but it can also be external.
Because what I hear with that is like boundaries, and we don't have to go into that a ton, but, and I've said this over and over and over and over again, I beat the bush with this phrase, which is we train people how to treat us.
That's good. It's very good.
Completely. You cannot be upset at somebody for treating you a certain way if you've allowed it.
Yeah, that's right.
And it's not good enough to say, well, they can tell I'm not happy about it.
Maybe. Have you actually said anything?
Because oftentimes if somebody tells me, well, I'm really upset at so-and-so for that, the first thing that comes out of my mouth is, do they know that?
Tell them, there you go. That's
do
great.
they know that?
Right. That's good.
And normally you'll get one of these responses. An honest one, no. Or the half-truth,
they should.
They should. Or
what have you actually said about it?
Right. Or the full-on bluff of going, well, yeah. And I go, what do you mean by yeah? Well, I mean, I've hinted at it. What do you mean hinted at? Right. You have got to be completely open with your communication. You have got to be tactical in the way that you communicate with people if they are crossing a line.
Right. That's really good, Shaylee. And I think a lot of that is people struggle to do that for two reasons. And it's the emotions within them and the emotions of the other person. So the number one thing to be successful in communication is, number one, remove the emotion.
Yes.
Because people jump to, it's kind of like we talked about earlier, like you walk home from work and you start blowing up about your day and your spouse can feel attacked. But it's like, I'm not even talking about you, you know?
Yeah.
But it's when we include all of the emotion, it's like basic management 101 is someone comes with a complaint. They're usually giving their feelings and their conclusions, but it's kind of like the old TV, black and white TV detective is like, just the facts, ma'am. It's like, what did you see? Yep. What did you hear? Let's start with that. And then when we're sharing with people, sharing what the facts are, this is the experience, you know, I have been working until 9 o'clock at night consistently trying to fulfill my duties for this job. That's a fact. Like, that's just a statement of what's going on instead of like, I can't believe that you people just don't care about us. Like,
and you abuse us and all these things.
All that, you got to step away from all the emotion. It creates less conflict if you start by simply sharing, this is what I've been experiencing. This is what's been going on. Then you can start to get into, this is how I feel about it, or this is what I would like to see happen. And if you can pull that other person in with you to troubleshoot it, say, you know, so this has been going on. I'm concerned, like, I don't want to continue these hours. So I would like your help in helping me resolve this problem so I can still successfully do my job, but keep it within business hours.
Yeah, that's great communication. It's great boundary setting, and it's still respectful, because it seems like whenever we bring up the phrase setting boundaries, people immediately kind of go towards like, oh yeah, that's good and healthy. Or there's another category that goes, well, you don't need to be aggressive with them. I didn't say being aggressive. I said setting healthy boundaries. Sometimes that can be extreme. If somebody's being abusive to you, you're at work, you've got a coworker who is screaming at you and using profanity on all these things, and you think, well, the way that they communicate is that, so I need to match that energy so that way they understand. Psychologically, we do understand that if somebody is screaming at you, first of all, talking to them in a calmer mode, maybe it won't work right away, but over time you'll start to notice that they drop their level as well. And then setting a boundary and putting the ball in their court for them to decide. Don't point fingers and demand things. But if you put it in the court and go, hey, here's the ball. I would love to resolve this with you. However, if you keep screaming and shouting and using profanity with me, the conversation will be over. So that puts that in their court. I want to keep talking with you, but if you keep doing these things, I will have no choice but to be removed.
Because the
Your
greatest
move.
power in negotiations is walkaway power.
Yeah.
You know, like you can't be forced into a deal you're willing to just pull out of.
Mm.
You know, a lot of people are walking around and they're still living out what they learned in childhood. So if they learned that shouting is what got people to back down, they're still practicing that. I had a coworker one time, she learned, I made the mistake of thinking because people were walking around in grown-up bodies that they were grown-ups.
That's fantastic.
So people a lot of times are still maybe practicing something they learned, like bullying people in the third grade in the playground works. So they're still trying to do it in the workplace at 30.
Because it got them what they wanted.
Yeah. You know, we just need to be willing to walk away. At the end of the day, getting another job is not the worst thing. And if we'll address those things before we reach our breaking point, then it doesn't become a break us or, you know, fall apart situation.
How does that apply in relationships?
So a lot of times I think just talking about it before you get to the point you totally blow up. You know, if you just let it go and it irritates you. And like you said, you haven't really explained to someone, this is bothering me. I'd like to work on this. I'd like this to change. I don't appreciate that. You know, if you keep just laughing it off, if you've told someone you don't want them to do something specifically that you feel is disrespectful or whatever, like they keep making fun of you. If you keep laughing it off, like there's no incentive to change. So trying to control somebody else is just a futile effort. All you can really do is control yourself. You can just simply be like, okay, I've asked you not to do that, so I'm going to go do something else right now. You know, just withdrawing from the situation. But to be fair, you should explain what you're asking for and giving things time. But more than anything, it's instead of like, goes along with disciplining kids too, I think, is instead of being harsh, you need to be consistent.
Oh.
The kids get a much stronger message if you are consistent. You know, like if every time they cross the line, you always follow up with, I saw what you did. You're not supposed to do that. Or this is your punishment. It doesn't even really matter necessarily. Sometimes people try to overwhelm that with how harsh the punishment is. But I think it's a lot more important just to be consistent.
Yeah.
So we do the same with other relationships too. If the boss keeps asking you to stay late on a Friday when you said, I have a family event we need to go to, and it's like it keeps reoccurring, you know, that at some point it becomes like, no, I'm sorry, we've talked about this before. I have to go.
Yeah.
And if you continually just give them what they want, you know, or not, but, you know, you can put your foot down gently and get your point across, I think sometimes more effectively, but you have to actually mean it.
Yeah.
And sometimes we won't do that because we're afraid, you know, like
No
we're
follow
afraid
through.
to lose our job if we say we can't do something at work. Sometimes we just have to be willing to do that. But again, if we're really upset about it, it's because we feel like other people can force us to do things. So if we stop letting other people force us to do things and actually just follow through with what we said, it's a lot better to be consistent and just make a decision that works for you and let them be mad about it than to constantly like acquiesce to someone else's demands.
Acquiesce to your request.
Jack Sparrow.
Yeah. Well, and it's terrifying how much control we give to people.
We give to people. That's right.
Because how often do you hear somebody, well, I have no choice.
Yeah.
I have to. No, I can't. I'm stuck. Says who? My resume is this long. Not because I'm bad at my job and I quit it or whatever. My resume is this long because, one, I've gotten the blessing of doing a lot of awesome things. I had a lot of part-time jobs going through like high school and college and all these things. But it was that walking away power of going, this isn't healthy. It's time for me to bow out. Granted, that doesn't mean burn every bridge because one day you might have to turn around and you're stuck on an island. You've got nowhere to go.
Right. Well, and if you're constantly unhappy, like don't just keep being mad till you blow up and walk away with no job one day.
Yeah.
Start applying for other jobs. Take some kind of proactive action.
I don't have the exact stat for this, but I know it's around the 50 percentile. Maybe this has been updated now. They found that about 50% of our stressors are self-induced.
Oh, wow.
That's a lot.
Yeah, that's amazing. That's kind of true.
Isn't it?
I need to think about that more, but yes.
Yeah, because how much of my stress happens because I just keep dwelling on it? How much of the stress happens because I feel like I don't have any walking away power?
Right.
How much of my stress do I, you know what I mean? Like there's just so much of it that we give away so much of our power that whenever we look at it and go, hey, the most important thing is that I stay true to my faith and my morals, that, you know, like fill in the list of whatever is the most important thing to you, because understand if something happens to you tomorrow, your job will replace you the next day.
Yeah.
That's not the most important thing. And yes, there are responsibilities. Yes, sometimes we have bad days, and sometimes we just want to vent about it. And sometimes we need times to process and go, hey, my feelings are very valid. That does not mean they need to control me. Because if you allow other people and your own emotions to control you, you're going to be very stuck in life. It's a scary feeling to feel like you have no control whatsoever because you surrendered it to things like that.
Yes. Well, and that's the thing. If we can't be happy unless everything that's irritating us goes away, we'll never be happy.
Yeah.
You know, like we have to learn to segment. It's like, okay, there's something in my life I don't like right now, or there's something about this job I don't like right now. There's something about this relationship I don't like right now, but to not let that color the entire experience.
Yeah.
Or, you know, like anything about it.
Yeah. No, that's completely true.
Yeah. Because you can change any of those things. You can go get another one of those. And that problem might go away, but there'll be another problem.
Yeah.
There'll be something else. There's always something that's, you know, life is not perfect.
Yeah. And understand too, sometimes we get so caught up in trying to make ourselves happy. Sometimes we get caught up in trying to make everybody around us happy. And we have to understand two things. One, I am not responsible for other people's emotions. That was another big, profound thing for me. And two, I'm not responsible for other people's boredom. And I'm just going to throw that in there just as a funny comment, because I did see it was a grandma that was being witnessed by another family member that watched a grandkid of hers come up, go, Grandma, I'm bored. I'm bored. I'm bored. I'm bored. And she turns around and looked at that little kid and went, I am not responsible for your boredom. And then turned back around. And that kid sat there like, what? If we give everything we possibly can to somebody, one, it might cause resentment. Two, it kills creativity on that person's part. You are not responsible for other people's emotions. They can learn how to emotionally regulate themselves.
Yes.
And if they haven't, maybe it's because you've never given them the chance to, because you're constantly worried with making it cushy for them. And if you constantly give somebody something out of their boredom, this is mainly applies to children. Why is it that we go, what happened to all the creativity with our generation?
Yeah.
Well, every time your child was bored and pitched a fit, here, iPad.
It's a prescribed fix.
Here, watch
Something
TV while you're
else,
eating dinner.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's a prescription. And then we wonder why we have side effects.
Yeah. That's great.
Well, I've had a great time.
Thank you for inviting me to your podcast.
I have a feeling that it's going to be requested that you continue to come back.
Well, we will do this again.
Yes, I would love that.
Okay.
Well, thank you so much for your time.
Right. It's great.
I love you too. I love you too. You're going to go off and conquer more business and help people buy and sell houses and do all the things. And then you're going to go home and do your farming thing and milk some goats.
Running with chickens, as I call it. As they follow me to the barn when I
like instead of dances with wolves, you run with chickens.
Running with chickens. That's right. It's my farming name.
It's your Indian name. Yeah. Runs with chickens. Girl who runs with chickens.
Not to parody a brilliant movie.
No. Yeah, can't top that one. But
probably more like Laughing with Goats. That would be more.
That's fantastic.
Yes.
Well, thank you so much for being on the podcast and the show.
Thank you for having me.
Yeah, of course.